Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the new session of Biology, Standard 11th, Chapter 10 Animal Tissues, Part 2. In the last lecture, we studied about introduction of this topic. Then we studied about cells and tissues. In tissues, we started with epithelial tissue. In epithelial tissue, we started with simple epithelial tissue. It consists of squamous epithelial tissue, cuboidal epithelial tissue, columnar epithelial tissue, ciliated epithelial tissue, glandular epithelial tissue, sensory epithelial tissue, and germinal epithelial tissue. Today we'll start with compound epithelial tissue. It consists of two parts or two types, that is stratified epithelium and transitional epithelium. Let's start today with the first one, that is stratified epithelium. Now see this diagram. In this, you'll come to know that nucleus is present in stratum germinativum. That means the area which is at the lower portion. Here you will find they have ability to divide and redivide. That's why that area is called germinativum. Then cells at free surface become flat and lack nucleus called stratum corneum. Here the upper surface, as it becomes keratinized, that is dead, so it does not contain nucleus. So here example is it is found in the epidermis of skin, cornea of eyes, esophagus, vagina, rectum, etc. Talking about functions of stratified epithelium, it has only one function, and the function is protection. Second is transitional epithelium. In this, you'll see the structure. The structure of transitional epithelium is same like that of stratified epithelium. Here, the cells can undergo a change in their shape and structure depending on degree of stretch. Only this is the difference between stratified and transitional epithelium. Now, example is a urinary bladder because it can stretch. So here, if we talk about function, it has only one function, and the function is distension of organ. Now, before starting with the second part, let's see the details of cell junctions. The epithelial cells are connected to each other laterally as well as to the basement membrane by junctional complexes called cell junctions. Now these cell junctions, they hold different cells in a tissue. So there are different types of cell junctions present in a tissue. Let's see the details of each cell junctions in a sequential manner. Now here you'll find cell junctions are of different types, that is, tight junctions, hemidesmosomes, desmosomes, adherence junction, and gap junctions. Now let's see the details of each junctions. Let's start with the first one, that is tight junctions. These junctions maintain cell polarity. They prevent lateral diffusion of proteins and ions. That means they do not allow proteins and ions to enter inside. And they tightly hold the cells from the lateral sides. Hemidesmosomes. These allow the cells to strongly adhere to the underlying basement membrane, and they maintain a tissue homeostasis by giving signals. So these are strong because they hold themselves through basement membrane and they provide signals. Then next one is desmosomes. They provide mechanical strength to epithelial tissue, cardiac muscles, and meninges. As you can see the diagrams of all these here. Next one is adherence junction. In adherence junction, you'll find it has got various signaling pathways and transcriptional regulation. That means it helps in giving signals and it also helps in transcription. And then we have last one, that is gap junctions. This intercellular connection allows passage of ions and small molecules between cells as well as exchange of chemical messages between cells. So as they are loosely arranged, so they allow the passage of ions and molecules. Coming towards connective tissue. Connective tissue, if you see, it is most widely spread tissue in the body. It consists of a variety of cells and fibers. These are embedded in the abundant intercellular substance called matrix. It is highly vascular except cartilage. If I say the word vascular, that means it has blood vessels. But cartilage does not have blood vessels. On the basis of presence of matrix, there are different types of connective tissue. We'll see that in detail, but here you know that connective tissue connects different organs together, and the functions of connective tissues: first one, it binds, supports, and provides strength to other body tissues and organs. Then it protects the vital organs of the body, and it acts as packing material. It also helps in healing process. These are different functions of connective tissue. Now talking about the types. On the basis of presence of matrix, they are classified as connective tissue proper, supporting connective tissue, which is also called as skeletal connective tissue, and fluid connective tissue. Now talking about the details, connective tissue proper is divided into two parts, that is loose connective tissue and dense connective tissue. Loose connective tissue is again divided into two parts, that is areolar connective tissue and adipose connective tissue. Then dense connective tissue is also divided into two parts, that is regular dense connective tissue and irregular dense connective tissue. Regular dense connective tissue is again divided into two parts, that is tendons and ligaments. Then coming towards supporting connective tissue or skeleton connective tissue, you'll find it is also divided into two parts, that is cartilage and bone. Then third one, that is fluid connective tissue, that is also divided into two parts, that is blood and lymph. Now amongst these three, we'll not study fluid connective tissue here in this class. In fact, we'll study the details of fluid connective tissue in standard 12th in a chapter named circulation. Here in standard 11th, you will study about the details of connective tissue proper and supporting, or you can say skeletal connective tissue. Now let's start with connective tissue proper. In this, we'll start the details of first, that is loose connective tissue. In loose connective tissue, the matrix is semi-solid, jelly-like, viscous matter made up of gelatin. Now as it is loose, so it should be gelatinous. Now in this, we'll study the details of only one today, that is areolar connective tissue. Now in order to understand areolar connective tissue, you have to study the details of diagram shown on your screen. Now here you will find matrix of this tissue contains two types of fibers, that is white fibers and yellow fibers. White fibers are made up of collagen, so they are also called as collagen fibers, and they give tensile strength to the tissue. You will find white fibers are found in bundles, they are wavy and they are unbranched. Whereas yellow fibers are made up of elastin, so we can call them as elastic fibers, and they are elastic in nature. You will find they are single, they are branched and they are straight, opposite to that of white fibers. Now if you see, this tissue contains four different types of cells. First one is a fibroblast cell. Fibroblasts are large flat cells having branching processes. They produce fibers as well as polysaccharides. They form the ground substance, or you can say matrix of the tissue. Then secondly, we have mast cells. Mast cells are oval in shape. They secrete heparin and histamines. Heparin, they are anti-clotting agent, or you can say they are anticoagulant. They does not allow blood to clot within the body. And histamines, they give allergic effects whenever any antigen enters. Then third type of cell is macrophage. Macrophages are amoeboid and phagocytic cells. If I say phagocytic cells, that means they have the function called phagocytosis. That means they engulf all the cell debris or whatever antigen enters inside your body. Then they are amoeboid, means they are shapeless. They do not have any particular shape. Then we have fourth cell, that is fat cells. These are also called as adipocytes, and they have eccentric nucleus. Why I say the word eccentric? Because nucleus is not present in the center, but the nucleus is present towards the periphery. Now how this nucleus comes towards the periphery? That is because these cells store fat. Because of fat, what happens? Storage of fat, that fat pushes the nucleus of the cell towards the periphery, and the nucleus moves towards the peripheral part. So that's why it is called eccentric nucleus. And as it stores fat, that means it acts as reserve food material. So whenever your body requires energy, at that time these fat cells, they give out fat as a source of energy to your body. Now, talking about where this connective tissue is actually found, it is found under the skin, in between muscles, in bones, around organs, blood vessels, and peritoneum. Now, functions. This tissue acts as packing material as it is present around different organs, so it acts as packing material. Then it helps in healing process. And last function, it connects different organs or layers of tissues. As it connects organs or layers together, so we call them as connective tissue. And we know they have different types of material like histamine, heparin, etc. Let's start with a quick summary what we studied today. We started today with compound epithelial tissue. In that, we studied about stratified epithelium and transitional epithelium. Then we started with cell junctions. In that, we studied about tight junctions, hemidesmosomes, desmosomes, adherence junctions, and gap junctions. Then we started with connective tissue. In that, we started with connective tissue proper. In connective tissue proper, we studied about loose connective tissue. In a loose connective tissue, we studied the details of only one, that is areolar connective tissue. So I hope you understood the topic. You understood today's lecture. We'll continue again in the next video. Till then, take good care of yourselves. Thank you.